Hi, and welcome. If you're in the training industry as a provider of training, one of the things you'll know is that when the economy declines, one of the first targets is often the training budget. Now, in mind 2020, if you think back to 2008, 2009, 2010, after the big financial collapse, we had the same sort of thing happening, although probably not as bad as it is now in 2020. In that international financial meltdown crisis, one of my clients for whom I'd already done about 20 finance for non-financial managers workshops over preceding years, told me they wanted to postpone one of the further workshops because of concerns that they had about which way the economy was going. This is not good news. Well, I thought about that and I came up with a proposal. Said, if I add my profit improvement program or project to the workshop, and if the results of my profit improvement project are greater than the cost of my workshop, well, then I'm going to charge you. If it did not, then I wouldn't charge them at all. I'd live with that. Now, they accepted my offer. Now, here was the plan. Number one, we do the workshop over 2 days. We set the project. I write out the instructions in some detail. And the last step is that at some stage in the future, we have the participants of the workshop presenting their suggestions to senior management. So what was required from them was firstly an amount of profit. So I would guess on I hadn't seen this particular outfit's financials, but I would take a guess at their profits. So I said, right, in your assignment, you're required to do all of these things, but the big thing is that the profit improvement that you need to come up with is 400,000. And this 400,000 can consist of either reducing costs or increasing revenues or a combination of both. But the additional profit must be produced within the next 12 months. Not some 5-year scheme or plan or anything like that. In their proposal document, they had to consider the following. What exactly would they propose should be done? Who would implement their suggestions if their suggestions were accepted by senior management? Who would support their suggestions? Who would not support their suggestions? And why would their suggestions not be supported by some group or person? You see, whenever you want to make change in an organization, you'll find that there are people that are with you and people that are against you for whatever sets of reasons they have, and it's important to know what those reasons are and who those people are. Then the next step was to submit the text of the proposal to me, together, by email of course, together with a PowerPoint presentation within 1 month of the end of the workshop. So once I reviewed the presentation, what I then did was to arrange for them to prepare the presentation for senior managers, senior management guys. And 2 directors flew down from Johannesburg to listen to the presentation. I had set the participants a target of 400,000. It was a small luxury hotel, not some large operation. After discussions during and after the presentation, the total of their suggestions came to 1.2 million. Now, there were further discussions then. People were delighted by the 1.2 million. However, the directors did point out to them that they did not want any cost reductions to be taken or made in an area that would affect the guest experience, as it's called in that industry. So that was a successful program for them. About a month later, I got a request for a finance for non-financial managers workshop from some large company. I hadn't dealt with them before. And so I sent in a proposal, and I added something. It's my usual wording. I said, and it is possible on your request that I add a profit improvement project to this workshop. So they asked what that was about, and I told them. I said, no, well, let's go with that. Now, a big company, I had to travel, started here in Johannesburg, did the first workshop, Bloemfontein, Kimberley, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, East London, Durban, and back. So there were a number of people that were exposed to this and working on this. So that was all took place. Within the month, I'd got in from the different cities the text of their proposals and the PowerPoint presentations. And I said to them, well, you're good to go. Organize these presentations, because I didn't see myself or them paying for me to fly around to all these places to listen to these presentations. But then one of the HR people phoned me, a senior HR person, and said, well, these presentations, well, we're going to fly these people to Johannesburg, and they will each have a turn to make their presentation, to the directors of the company. I said, okay. And you must please come along. I said, I'll be there. Of course, I was a bit concerned. It's like when you've got a little kid in grade 1 or 2 and they're appearing in the concert at school. How you worry about them maybe getting their lines wrong or doing something silly, and then they'd be all embarrassed. So I went along, and the presentation started. And as I listened to these, I was in a parent-like way, but worried about what I could then consider to be my guys presenting. And they came on and started. And they blew these directors away with their proposal. Absolutely blew them away. And the really, really satisfying thing was when their CEO, who at that stage had been with the company for only 6 months, and he hadn't been around when my work with them had been approved, stood up and he said, guys, he said, today I learned more about this industry than I had before. Thank you. So this is why teaching and doing this type of work is and can be so satisfying. Thank you for watching.